This tutorial I'm going to be explaining how to create volumes based on two surfaces. It'll also create a new surface. We'll actually show the areas in between. I'll also show you how to display the properties of the surfaces in various ways, which will help clients to understand the volumes calculated. First of all, we will create a we'll actually turn off one of the surfaces to make it easier to create the new surface. As these are contours, they've been supplied to us by, say, the client, so we actually still need to produce a surface. CIVIL3D doesn't understand if we've just given a 3D model without a DTM or anything like that, so we actually need to use that information and generate again a contour model based on the 3D polylines they've supplied. So what I'll do to make things easier, I'll just turn off the design surface and leave on the existing surface, and we will create a new surface and call it existing surface, and we'll click OK. And within this one we can now select contours. We'll add contours from the file. Won't give it a name, don't bother giving a description. I'll select everything except the blue box. Right click, and there you'll see that the point 1 and triangles have been produced basically exactly on top of what we had before. That'll be pretty much the exact replicate of what was supplied to us, but in point 1 contours. We're actually interested in now creating another surface. If we turn all the information on now and have the design as our current, turn everything else off, I'll turn on layer 0, that'll have the boundary on it as well. Minimize the surface and create a new surface and call this one design surface. I'm actually going to create a copy of this one, this contour one, and call it design. So we'll have a difference between the two different surfaces. If we want to turn them on and off, they'll be independent of each other. I'll display these contours, major and minor. We'll keep it the same for now. We'll just create a new surface, and we'll go OK. Click OK. In my design surface, I can now actually create the contours, or select the contours as we did previously for the other file. There you have it. I've actually got that surface actually turned off. So if I now go to add a boundary, we'll keep it as outer. LA Thor, we've actually now got the two surfaces displayed on top of each other, showing triangles as well. So it's a bit messy having a look at it in that way, but the one thing we're interested in right now is getting a volume, and with that we should easily be able to get a volume by going up to the Analyze tab, the volume dashboard. So I've clicked that on, the volume dashboard will show up like this. There's actually nothing set up at the moment, so if I set up a new volume, I click on that, it's asking me what surface am I interested in. I'm going to have the existing surface versus the design surface. And what we'll do is, as you can see, there are different ways in which we want to show this. The actual is actually going to produce a new surface from the two, each surface that's been calculated against each other. It will then create a new surface. So for this instance, I'm just going to show it as a levels shaded surface, and actually I'm actually just going to have it so it's actually got no surface, no display at all, so we don't need to see that right now. So we're going to have the base surface, and we're going to call that existing, and our comparison surface will be our design. If I click OK there, just done a calculation of it, and here we have your volumes, which has just done that really quickly, of you're going to show your cut and your fill and your net adjusted, which will be fill for this instance, 13,500 cubic meters. For other display options, what we can do is, now that you can see we've now got this third surface, this third surface will actually show a range of cut and fill in between. So to give it a bit of a viewing platform, so it's more easily to define where actually cut and fill and the actual amount of cut and fill is. It's probably a good idea to go to your other design surfaces and turn all the things off that you within those surfaces. And we'll do that to the existing as well. Go to the edit surface style, turn all those off. We'll go apply and click OK. So in the existing surface we actually had this turned off as well. We'll actually now show this elevations on this one. We'll go apply and go OK. So we've actually got a banded colors of elevations, but it hasn't really been set up yet to define exactly how we want to show that the cuts or fills. So if we go into the surface properties and we go to the analysis tool, and we're going to show the elevations, but what we'll show them is a range interval. So we'll actually give it a 0.25 interval. It automatically selects a range for me, and if I apply that, you'll see my background here has changed. It's actually given me a range in colors accordingly. And if I click OK, now we may actually want to show that having a table alongside it. So you'd have to go up to the annotate table, add tables. We're going to add a surface legend table. So within that, it's actually asking us what surface do we want to create it from. I'm going to right click, it'll bring up the list. I'm going to choose existing surface versus design surface, click OK. It's now asking me what type, and we did elevations, so that's correct. And it's now asking me the add surface label behavior. I'm just going to keep it as the default and right click. Then it's asking me now for the upper left corner. So if I just select up here, we should have a range now for the legend. I can pick that up and move that. And then here we see it. We're actually going to see a range in heights. Now, that's going to be very helpful for people to determine their heights of cut and fill. Another handy tool up in the annotate, if we actually wanted to show a grid of volume, actually the actual spot heights, we can go up to the add labels. In the add labels, we can go to surface, and then there we can see spot elevations on grid. So if I click on that, it's then going to ask me again what surface. I'm going to choose the existing surface versus the design surface. Click OK. Grid base point, we'll just choose outside here. And rotation of 0. The spacing is every 5 meters. We'll say, for instance, we'll make this one 4 meters. We're going to do 4 meters again on the others, and it's going to ask me for the upper right. So if I select here, likes that. Rotation is good, of the change the size. I don't want to do any of that, so I'm going to click no, and I click enter, and as you can see now, we've now got a spot height of where we have got cut or fill across our whole surface. So there you have it. There's a brief summary of creating a cut and fill. There are many ways you can display your surfaces. Having a look into your existing surface, say for instance your styles, you can turn them on and off by visibility. You've got layers in there. Within that too, in your surface properties, you've actually got your analysis tool that can do elevations. We can actually create contours. We can do anything we sort of want to show and display within that surface or any surface you wish to display. And that basically concludes our contour volume calculations and displays.